So, hello, my name is Rishit Naska, and today I'm going to introduce you to the very interesting idea of dictionaries. Now, dictionary is a data type in Python, so it's not as easy as list, but believe me, it's interesting, and I'm going to make it very simple. So, lists are easily ordered, and we can access them through indexes, but dictionaries are not so easy. So, to define a dictionary, we just have to type the following command, which is the name of the dictionary. Then we have to put is equal to, and this is very important, we have to put curly brackets. Now you might be standard this commands, standard these things. Now I'll explain it to you, don't worry. So everything on this side is a key. Now everything on this side is its corresponding item, and a key and an item is separated by a semicolon. Now, after each key, semicolon, and item pair, we have to put a comma, except for the last one. If we put a comma in the last one, we would get an error. Name errors to be specific, saying that we have not, it is not legible to the computer. Okay, fine. We'll talk about errors in future video, in a future lecture. But for now, let's focus on this dictionary thing. So dict1, here we have to put the name is equal to curly brackets, then we have put the keys a. So the keys over here are a, b, c, d. It can be anything, it can be a string, it can be anything. It cannot be lists, because lists are mutable. It can be anything other than that. These also can be anything, including lists, tuples, or any other thing, sets. So whatever. So let's move on further. Print. It's like printing anything. Printing lists, printing strings. It doesn't matter. Although we need to focus on this part, because a, here we get a. We have got a key a corresponds. Read this semicolon as corresponds to 1. B, the key B corresponds to 2. The key C corresponds to the item 3. The key D corresponds to the item 4. Okay. Now we hear how to access how to grab any item in a dictionary. To grab an item in the dictionary without using indexes, since there is no idea of indexes in a dictionary, we have to grab it by its key or its corresponding key. That is the reason why keys are there in a dictionary, or else it would be very difficult to access. So what we are doing over here is that it is after we have entered a key, or the name of a key, it's going to the computer's memory, searching for the key and getting back the key and outputting if we type the print command. Or it is actually in the midst I missed a step. It is finding out its corresponding item. In this case, since it's a key a, we have the item 1, so it's going to print 1. So it is although in the environment that I'm using, which is as I described earlier, is Jupyter Notebook, which I'm going to introduce you to later, but it's best practice to use this command, print dict1 a. And remember to put this within square brackets, just like indexes, similar to indexes, just you have to put square brackets. I mean the name of the key in place of the numerical index. Okay, so if we search D corresponds to the value A4, so it's going to print 4, just like that. If we take another dictionary 2 and give a key A, we can assign an item which is a list. You can also assign an item which is a string, and you can also assign an item which is a boolean value. Remember, booleans, it can be either true or false. If we print it, it's not going to give an error because lists are acceptable as an item. It's not acceptable as a key. Now, if we print it, how do we print it, or how do we get the value oranges from it? Well, it's a bit hard, but I hope you understand it. Okay, so to help you understand, what I want to do is that I'm going to take a key. So first we have to locate. First, I want to think you. I want you to think like a computer. So what is the first thing the computer is going to do? Is going to want the key, which because it's stored on a very high level, or a higher level on the memory of the computer. So we first want the key. On getting the key, we'll get the corresponding item, which in this case is a list. Now we want a value oranges inside the list. How do we get values in a list? Yeah, by typing the index number. So we have index number 0, 1, 2. So oranges, as you can see over here, is in index number 1. Okay, so since it is in index number 1, what we have to do is that after getting the corresponding list, the computer would search for the index number. So we have to supply the index number. In this case, we are going to supply 1 since we want oranges. Let's print that, and magically we get oranges. Now, don't move out. I'm going to introduce you to dictionary method, just like I introduced you to list methods. Okay, I defined a dictionary user, which contains a key wish list containing apples, oranges, pineapples, whatever is there in your wish list. It can be anything. And I've also developed an extra key. As I said, it can be a string, it can be anything except lists or tuples, and I've assigned it a key item of hello. So user has entered a shop. We want to greet him. To get a value, we use the dot get method instead of the earlier one. We saw that we put a key and then we get the corresponding value. We can use the dot get method. It's the same format as any method. You must be introduced to methods. If you are not, watch the list and tuples video, and it will be clear to you. So we use the dot get method, and we get the value hello. Now, here we are asking for a key which is not in the dictionary. So what will happen is that it will not give us an error. It will not give us an error. If we type it the normal way, it will give us an error, but in this way it will not give us an error, which is an advantage, because as a programmer you don't want errors to happen. Okay, now it will give us just none, which indicates that the value is not present in the dictionary, or the key is not present in the dictionary. So this is the advantage of using the dot get method over this normal method or the usual method, that it does not give an error. It just replies none, which is an advantage as a programmer. Now we can minimize it once we find it out by using this statement: user.get. We supply the key, and then we put a comma. Remember, it's not a semicolon, it's a comma, and then we assign a value to it, or assign an item to it. So whenever we use this 45, we get it. But still, if we print user, we will not get it age, or we will not get the age, because it's just a temporary, an external key, and its corresponding item is also a temporary and external. To create a copy, we can use the dot copy method, just like this, and we can it's just a copy, just an exact copy of the original thing. And we can also use the dot clear method, just like the list, and Here, it returns a null or an empty dictionary, but all its elements, including the keys as well as its corresponding items, have been cleared. Dot pop also works here, where in this case, like the like the earlier one, you were using indexes, whatever you call it. In this case, we use the key name or the key. Yeah, we use a key name, and on doing it, we it pops out the value as I told you in my environment. It or since I printed it, it gives out the popped value or outputs a popped value, and if you print it again, we'll observe that it's not there. You can also find out the items user are stored in a value called user items, and we use the dot items method. Remember, there is no there should be no value over inside these brackets in the dot items method. If you print it, we will get dict items, which is the key separated by commas instead of semicolons. I mean colons and semicolons from the item or its corresponding item, which is this list. So that's the difference. And we can also assign values. They're saying that user's wish list is equal to empty list, where earlier it was a dictionary, but here in this case it's wish list and empty list. Again, we can also go to this website where there's a number of um, methods with these descriptions. Some of them we have covered, some of them we have not. So thank you and subscribe to stay connected with us.